Ahoy! Alright. We're gonna be finishing our low poly base mesh. It's exciting stuff, right? We're gonna get to this process, this point here. We're gonna model the front bumper and the rear bumper, and then we'll be moving on to the more exciting stuff like detailing, and that's when our car will start to look really nice and realistic when we start adding all those details. These are a little bit more complicated pieces, but we're just going to be following the same concept as before to get a clean topology, and that should be jolly. Alright, so we're just going to be jumping into modeling. Like I mentioned, we're going to be modeling the bumpers. We'll start with this first one. Make sure I'm on vertices select. This is a bit more tricky. I'm going to split it into two halves, well, to make it more manageable. Divide and conquer, you know what they say. So the first part, I want to model around this, this little grill / headlight cutout. So I want to bring these vertices down. I'm going to select those up until this edge here. Just extrude them. Anywhere is fine for now. We want to straighten them out, and I think we talked about this already, but to straighten them out, we're going to click S to scale, lock them to the axis you want to straighten them out upon, in this case Z, and just type in 0. Then we'll just bring them up to there, and line them up across our different views. Alright, that looks good. We'll repeat the process for the side. Extrude, bring them up to here. In this case, we want to scale Y 0. Just bring them out to that point. Well, maybe these ones could come out a bit further. No, that's fine. Bring that one up. Yeah, looks good. Then we'll just go ahead and fill in that face. And since we split that curve up into two portions, we get a nice round thing, and we're able to add this edge loop throughout the entire thing, which is nice. Alright, next thing, moving on. Maybe bring that one down a little bit. Want to model the bottom portion of this cutout, so I'm going to go ahead and extrude these to this line here. Maybe bring that one down. The interesting thing about this line that we see here is that if we take a look at our reference, there's nothing really there. So I'm not sure what this is supposed to be here in our blueprint, but oh my goodness, every single day. No, I will never update my computer. So I'm just gonna, what was I talking about? I'm just gonna ignore this line that I don't really know what it does yet. Oh, I didn't line up the edges we extruded from the side across our front view. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Maybe I'll add an edge loop here just to round that out a little bit. Alright, that looks good. Looks good there. And let's just go ahead and extrude this all the way up into the center. I'm going to lock it across the x-axis so it stays straight. Let's go ahead and line it up. And we do need to add some edge loops into it, maybe 3. And what I'm going to do is try to line them up with the vertices we have on the top. So maybe that one there, that one there, and that one there. And then just go ahead and line those up according to our top view to get the curve right. What am I doing? Alright, that looks good for the cutout. Now we're going to sort of start going into it, because if we look at just take a quick look at our reference, we do have a bunch of stuff in there. I'm not going to model the headlights or the mesh grill, but we're just going to model the stuff, the red, the metal parts, around it. So I'm going to Shift Alt right click that entire edge that goes around, extrude, just right click to place it right there. I'm just going to scale it in a little bit. And since it's an elongated shape, it's going to sort of not scale evenly. So we want to split that up and into two separate scales and just lock the axis, lock the z-axis to sort of even it out a little bit. And this is a good practice for any cutouts. Like up here we have the one that goes around up there. So we want to make sure we have an edge loop that goes across the entire cutout. And now I'm just going to extrude that entire edge in a little bit. And then, so that goes inwards. It also sort of comes up to that point. So maybe what I'll do for this is slide that over here, slide that one a little bit over here. Now it doesn't really line up to the top as well, but it'll be fine. Just select those back vertices and bring them up. Maybe these ones can come up a little bit too. Shift Alt right click and just extrude them back a little bit further. I don't really know how far back it goes, but maybe something like that actually. I think that looks alright for now. Just gonna save real fast. I'll move on to the bottom portion of our grill. Bumper. Whoa. And we'll start modeling that by just Shift Alt right clicking the entire bottom portion, extruding down across the Z, and just line these up. Bring them in a little bit, bring these ones in a little bit this way. And of course we got to line them up from our front view because this is starting to go inwards a little bit. This may seem like it's going kind of quick, and that's because we're just moving along. We're not really going over anything new, just repeating the same things we've learned to get the shape down. Slide that out a little bit. And just extrude those down a little bit. Bring them into place. Maybe we could add another edge loop in there. Something like that. Of course, line them up across the front view according to the here. And this is kind of rounded, so yeah, that's fine. Oh, go ahead and extrude that down a little bit. We'll line it up. Then we'll just extrude this out that way. Bring it in. Just basically repeating the process that we did for the top cutout. And then I'm going to be adding some edge loops here. Try to line them up according to the top ones. Just one at a time. And it'll probably be easier to oh shoot, can't really see from the top view, so we'll just estimate where we want these vertices to go, trying to line it up according to the top. That looks fine. Then we want to add that edge loop around.
Brownie?
Oh, I would love a brownie. Thank you.
No problemo. They're quite hot, so careful.
I like warm brownies.
Precisely.
Nice, thank you. We got brownies. Nice. So we extruded that. Let's go ahead and scale it in and sort of balance it out by scaling just the z-axis. That gives us the edge loop around. And then let's go ahead and start bringing it in. I'm going to extrude, bring it into, just back a little bit. Maybe I can scale it, just even scale this one a little bit. Maybe something like that. And then extrude, bring it back even more. How far should this go back? Probably fine. Something like that. And then we do have these two little pillar things. Let's go ahead and select these edges and sort of just GG them to over here. Did that mess with our curve? No, that's fine. And then let's select this piece, that single face at the bottom here. Sorry, I just changed from vertices select to face select just to select that single face. I'm going to extrude this up a bunch. I'm not going to connect it into the top portion. I'm just going to let it sit there. I'm going to go back to vertices select. Box deselect that, and we'll add two edge loops to give this some shape. Then just move these vertices into place. Probably move that one in a little bit. Something like that. And since this is a pretty, let's go ahead and line it up from the side view. It's pretty uneven. Let me look at this picture again. Let's just balance these out. I'm gonna select all these vertices on this inner side, and then actually those two. I'm just gonna bring this back a bunch to try to straighten this out. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring these ones out. I'm going to select those and just bring them somewhere like this. Maybe not that much. This looks kind of weird, actually. Oh. That up. Just sort of working away at it to make it look right. What did I do here? Oh, here's what we can do. We're going to fade it in a little bit, so whoops, front view, bring this out. Maybe bring this one in a little bit. Then what we'll do is add one more loop cut through that center portion and select those vertices, and then just drag them out across the Y. Maybe not as much as I did. Just something like that to round it out a bit, because in a reference picture it is rounded a little bit. Go ahead and give that a save. And we'll save the little lip thing for details. And now, since we have all of the geometry around our wheel, here's why we save that little inner portion for last. Just going to Shift Alt right click that entire circle around our wheel. Should just select nice and easy. Gonna extrude it, scale it, and just reline it up, something like that. And then we have an edge loop that goes around our entire wheel well, which is great, magnificent. It's not as neat as some of the other areas. It, like I mentioned before, it is a little bit more of a tricky area to keep clean and neat because of the extra details. They're just more complex shapes. So and I don't know. Am I going to make it another part? How long have I been recording? I am going to model the back just quickly, but I'm going to eat these brownies first. Be right back. Alright, I ate some brownies. Now we have is the back bumper. Now that's all that's left. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, so we're just going to do this quickly. It's just similar concepts. I'm just going to go ahead and do this trunk real fast. Add some edge loops across there. 2 will be fine. Sort of line them up. Maybe I ought to cut across here and to bring it down a little bit. Alright, that's looking pretty good, I think. Looks fine. I'm just going to open up this other one. Alright, and go ahead and extrude this down to, not going to model this gray part. I'll say that, maybe we will actually. I think that's probably part of the car. But we'll extrude that out afterwards. We're going to do the same thing that we did for the front. I'm going to split this up into a couple different pieces. We'll go ahead and do this side piece first. Maybe something, just extrude those vertices out to something like that. Go ahead and select them, and it's getting kind of tough to see from her if we go to our rear view, which is Control 1, by the way. So here's a cool trick. I'm going to go into wireframe so I can see all the vertices in our model, and then I'm just going to box select a big old chunk, mostly getting that front portion, but just selecting as much as we can, and then I'm going to click H, which hides. So if we go into edit mode, all that's left is that. It's still there, but it's just hidden from our view for now, and that makes it a lot easier to be able to see what we're working with here. If we go into wireframe, it does come back. You can still see it, but alright, something like that. And what we could do is let's go ahead and extrude this bottom portion up to here. Let's go ahead and fill in that face, that quadrilateral. Make sure these start to come in. Extrude these out. Just keep on lining them up. Bring them on in. Extrude out. These ones could probably come all the way in. Actually, let's bring them out to this point, and then we'll go ahead and extrude one more time. We'll go ahead and bring these upper portioned ones out. Maybe these ones can come in a little bit. Go to our top view and give it some little bit of curvature. And for this license plate area, here's what I like to do. We're going to go in face select mode, select this single face and extrude it, and then scale it in a little bit. And we don't really need this face on the bottom because it does sort of fade out. So I'm going to delete this face, X to delete that face. Then I'm going to select these two vertices, and I want to just bring them down. Then we could probably bring that in across the X, and that gives us a little license plate cutout, and it probably should come in a little bit, something like, actually, we want to extrude scale in one more time. Again, delete that face on the bottom. And now this part can come in, because that gives us the actual shape. Something like that will look good. Then maybe this can come down, actually. Bring that down. I think Blender just broke. Oh, nope, there we go. Let's go ahead and finish off this part. Extrude it out to something like that. Let's go ahead and fill in that face. Oh. Bring it down a bunch. Yeah, that'll be fine. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. But then what I'm going to do is do the same thing that we did for the front cutout. Select that edge loop and then scale it in. Maybe these top ones I'll bring down a little bit manually. Do something like that, maybe. And then we'll go ahead and select that, extrude, bring it in. Just bring it on in. What I didn't do is bring these in according to our rear view. Maybe bring that one down. Something like that. Looks pretty good. So that came together pretty quick. And then to unhide our mesh, you click Alt-H. And that just unhides everything that you've hidden so far. Oh, and then let's go ahead and do this wheel thing again. Shift-Alt, right-click that, extrude, scale, navigate it into place. So now we have the edge loop around our wheel. We have the edge loop around our rear cutout. Whoop, I didn't actually want to add one. And yeah, we'll go ahead and model this portion where the exhaust point come out in as a part of the detailing process. Mostly just because I don't want you to. This is already a pretty long part, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully your model's starting to come along. I'd love to see what people have so far. So if you'd like to share your results, feel free to post in the comments. I'd be more than happy to take a look and see the fruits of your labor. Look forward to seeing the next part where we will begin to detail and make our car look realistic. We'll also talk about, I know some of you are probably modeling for games, so we'll talk about some differences you might want to make to your mesh in order to optimize them for games instead of just pure visuals. So thanks so much for watching again. I'll see you later.